Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual. I'm Utsav Parekh and here are the top stories of the day. 3 US service members have been killed in a drone attack in northeast Jordan. At least 34 others were injured in the strike near the Syrian border. US President Joe Biden blamed the attack on Iran-backed groups operating in Syria and Iraq. He added that the US will respond. The deaths are the first fatalities of US troops in the region since the Israel-Hamas war began. It marks the escalation of an already tense situation in West Asia. The US and Iraq held the first session of formal withdrawal talks in Baghdad over the weekend. The talks were aimed at sending home a US-led military coalition in Iraq. Currently, there are about 2,500 US troops still deployed in Iraq as part of the coalition. The coalition was formed in 2014 to help Iraq defeat the terror group ISIS. Britain's Defence Ministry said that one of its warships had shot down a drone attack launched by the Yemen-based Houthi group. The attack caused no damage or injuries. The Houthis have not acknowledged the strike. Since November last year, the Iran-backed Houthis have been attacking commercial vessels in the Red Sea. The US and UK have been firing missiles at Yemen in response to the attacks. United Nations officials are urging countries to reconsider a pause in funding for the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The UNRWA works to provide aid to Gaza and other regions. At least 9 countries, including the US and Germany, have paused funding for the UNRWA. This was after allegations by Israel that a dozen of the agency's staff in Gaza were involved in the October 7th Hamas attack. Some Israeli demonstrators staged a protest on the Israeli side of the Kerem Shalom crossing. They were demanding a halt to aid to the region, saying it helped Hamas. The protesters demanded a suspension to aid until the release of all hostages. However, Israeli police managed to keep them away and allowed the passage of some of the trucks into the enclave. Thousands of Palestinians in the south of Gaza were forced to flee again. Residents in Khan Yunis were forced to move towards Rafah. This comes as Rafah is already bursting with over 1 million people who have fled the fighting. The IDF has expanded its ground operations in Khan Yunis, which it says is the main headquarters of Hamas. The Lebanon-based Hezbollah group has reportedly fired 2 anti-tank missiles towards Israeli military bases in northern Israel. The Israeli army responded to this with artillery shelling. No damage or casualties were reported in the attack. Earlier on Sunday, Hezbollah said that it carried out 7 attacks on Israeli posts along the Israel-Lebanon border. Turkey has said that its forces have detained 2 Islamic State members. This is in connection to a church shooting in Istanbul on Sunday. 2 masked gunmen entered a church in Istanbul and shot 1 person dead. Turkish authorities didn't formally identify the victim. They have also issued a media ban on coverage of the attack. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has revealed his income publicly. This was to promote transparency and root out endemic corruption in the country's government. It comes after the Ukrainian Secret Service uncovered a fraud of over $40 million in its defense ministry. Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso have said that they are leaving the Economic Community of West African States, or ECOWAS. ECOWAS is a regional political and economic union of 15 countries located in West Africa. The 3 neighboring states are all ruled by military juntas. This has put them at odds with the rest of the West African bloc. ECOWAS is urging them to return to democratic rule. Instead, the 3 countries have sought to forge closer ties through a new union called the Alliance of Sahel States. North Korea tested new strategic cruise missiles yesterday. North Korean state media released photos of leader Kim Jong-un supervising the missile test. The missiles flew above the sea off the country's east coast and hit an unspecified target. The test comes amid increasing tensions in the Korean peninsula. India and France have agreed to work together on the joint production of defense equipment. This includes helicopters and submarines for the Indian Armed Forces. The countries have also agreed to expand bilateral ties in nuclear energy, space research, and the use of artificial intelligence. The deal was reached during French President Emmanuel Macron's visit to India. Last week, Macron was in India to attend Republic Day celebrations. In Pakistan's Karachi, police broke up an election rally held by former Prime Minister Imran Khan's party. Supporters of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party, or PTI, were protesting against attempts to keep them out of the upcoming election. The Karachi police fired tear gas at the demonstrators. Meanwhile, PTI supporters threw stones at police officers. Several party supporters were later arrested. Pakistan is due to hold elections on February 8th. Members of Brazil's LGBTQ+ groups protested on the streets of Sao Paulo. The demonstrators called for an end to crime aimed at the trans community in the country. According to the NGO Gay Group, 257 people from the LGBTQ+ community were murdered in Brazil in 2023. Every year on the January 29th, Brazil celebrates the National Day of Trans Visibility. In climate news, 2 climate change activists attempted to vandalize the Mona Lisa in Paris. They threw soup at the protective glass in front of Leonardo da Vinci's masterpiece. After the incident, they asked what was more important, art or the right to have a healthy and sustainable food system. The activists wanted to highlight the need to protect the environment and sources of food. Climate activist Greta Thunberg joined a protest which was being organised to object against a British airport expansion. The protesters marched in England's Farnborough town. They called for a ban on all private jets. Farnborough Airport is one of the busiest in Europe. The airport authorities want to increase the limit of flight takeoffs per year from 50,000 to 70,000. Northern India is experiencing severe cold conditions. The Indian Meteorological Department predicts light snowfall over the state of Uttarakhand, while states like Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh may experience light rain. Light or isolated rainfall or snowfall might be seen in parts of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh. A cold wave has brought freezing temperatures to northern China. Mounted police officers have been patrolling remote and isolated areas in the region. Due to the extreme conditions, the officials are using horses instead of cars. According to reports, the maize or corn harvest in Africa's Malawi might fall by 22.5% this year. Climate change is impacting the harvest through extreme weather events. Corn is the preferred staple for various regions in southern Africa, and Malawi provides 2/3 of the region's total corn yield. The world's largest cruise ship has started its first journey. Environmental groups are worried about how the journey will impact the environment. They say that the vessel is running on liquid natural gas, which will lead to the leakage of methane into the atmosphere. On to business and tech news. A Hong Kong court has ordered Chinese property giant Evergrande to wind up operations. The indebted firm defaulted on bond repayments in 2021 and has since failed to offer a concrete restructuring plan. The real estate giant has over $300 billion in liabilities. Experts believe that the liquidation process could be lengthy given the many authorities involved. According to China's state news agency, the government plans to merge 3 of its biggest bad debt management funds with its sovereign wealth fund, the China Investment Corp. The move aims to separate the Chinese government's roles as a regulator and shareholder of the state-owned financial institutions. These debt management funds were established to handle the bad loans of China's state banks. However, recently, these asset managers themselves have begun to pose a risk to the Chinese financial system. The US government is likely to propose a new draft rule for cloud service providers. The rules require tech firms to collect the names and IP addresses of foreign customers and report any suspicious activity. The move is expected to limit the access of Chinese firms from data centers and servers that are crucial for training and hosting AI. United Airlines has reportedly approached Airbus to buy more A321neo jets. United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby is discussing possible alternatives to the company's pending orders of Boeing 737 MAX 10s. The move comes as the airline's order of MAX 10 jets has been delayed for over 5 years. Kirby has also raised doubts of the MAX 10 order after a recent door panel blowout incident with the 737 MAX 9. US defense contractor Lockheed Martin will cut 1% of its workforce over the course of the year. The layoffs will impact positions across its business operations. Lockheed employs 122,000 people worldwide. US grain trader ADM is reportedly delaying the performance bonuses of some of its executives. The bonuses will be postponed until ADM's financial statements are completed and audited. The delay comes days after the company sidelined its CFO and launched an investigation into internal accounting practices. The probe focuses on ADM's profitable nutrition business unit. British retailer John Lewis is reportedly considering laying off up to 11,000 staff. This means over 10% of the retailer's 76,000 workforce could be affected. The layoffs may be implemented over the next 5 years and could affect the group's head office, supermarkets and department stores. John Lewis has not confirmed the reports yet. Over the last few years, the group has laid off thousands of employees. Spotify has called Apple's new rules in the European Union quote-unquote extortion. Earlier this week, Apple unveiled new rules to comply with the EU's Digital Markets Act. Under the rules, app developers can opt out of using Apple's in-app payments, which charge a 30% commission. However, the big tech company has introduced a new core technology fee of €50. Spotify CEO Daniel Ek has called Apple's new rules vague and misleading. Social media platform X, formerly Twitter, is hiring 100 new content moderators in the US. These moderators will focus on fighting child abuse content. The Elon Musk-owned firm has also announced a new Trust and Safety Center of Excellence. This is a stark reversal for Musk. In 2022, Twitter's content moderation team was one of the first that Musk disbanded after taking over. SpaceX has launched a number of Starlink internet satellites from its Falcon 9 rocket. The rocket was launched from NASA's Kennedy Space Center. The mission sent 23 new internet satellites into low Earth orbit. Onto the world of sports now. We begin with tennis. Italy's Jannik Sinner won the Australian Open men's singles title after an epic fightback. Sinner was initially 2 sets down and had no answer to the Russian Daniil Medvedev's aggression, but he dug deep to win the next 3 sets and claimed the title. Sinner beat Medvedev 3-6, 3-6, 6-4, 6-4, 6-3. He is the first Italian champion in the tournament's history. The 5-set Australian Open final lasted 3 hours and 44 minutes. In cricket, the West Indies have scripted history by beating Australia at their fortress Gaga, breaking multiple records in the second test. Craig Braithwaite and the team pulled off one of the biggest upsets at the Gaga in the ongoing edition of the ICC World Test Championship. Shamar Joseph was the protagonist for the Caribbean nations as he finished with 7 wickets for 68 in the second innings. Indian fans at the Rajiv Gandhi Stadium in Hyderabad were gripped by an uneasy silence as England beat India, winning the first test by 28 runs to go 1-0 in the 5-match series. This was the first time in the 91-year history of Test cricket in India that the side lost a match after taking the first innings lead of more than 100 runs. However, at the ICC Under-19 Men's Cricket World Cup, India continued to dominate. The side crushed USA by 201 runs to top their group. Arshin Kulkarni scored 108 and pacer Naman Tiwari emerged as a star with the ball. With this, India have already secured a Super 6 berth and have progressed to the next stage. Egypt's AFCON hopes have been dashed as the side has been knocked out of the competition. This is after a dramatic penalty shootout against the Democratic Republic of Congo. This means the injured Mohamed Salah will not get a chance to return to the Africa Cup of Nations. Seven-time champions Egypt lost 8-7 on penalties after the tie ended 1-1 at the end of extra time. Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez and Inter Miami teammates were seen training ahead of their Riyadh Season Cup encounter against Al Hilal. Inter Miami take on Al Hilal at the Kingdom Arena today. On February 1st, Inter Miami will face Al Nassr in a match that could pit Messi against Ronaldo in case the Portuguese star overcomes his muscle pull. Shock Spanish title challengers Girona returned to the top of La Liga, beating Celta Vigo 1-0. Porto finished well in the 20th minute to give Girona a lead, and they largely dominated till end time. Sanchez's Girona have moved 1 point clear of Real Madrid. On to American football, the San Francisco 49ers recorded a stunning second-half fight back and beat the Detroit Lions 34-31 to reach their second Super Bowl in 5 years. They will face the Chiefs in Las Vegas on February 11th, where they will be looked to avenge their 2020 loss to Kansas City. American youngsters Tyler Blocker and Austin Pickett won the parallel freeride Engadin Snow 2024 title. The 18 and 17-year-olds, the youngest pair in the competition, claimed victory over veteran Patrick Ambuel and his partner Luca Schneider in the final. Canadian authorities have filed charges against former National Hockey League player Alex Formenton. The authorities are investigating a claim that 8 athletes committed sexual assault as a group in 2018. The new charges are the latest in a major scandal related to the claims that were first revealed in 2022. Since then, there has been a series of resignations in the Canadian Hockey Federation and a temporary suspension of its public funds. In entertainment news, social media platform X put a ban on searches for Taylor Swift. This happened after the singer's fake AI-generated images spread on the platform. X stated that the ban was introduced to prioritize the safety of the issue. Users got a "something went wrong, try reloading" message after they searched for Swift. Two-day music festival Lollapalooza wrapped up on January 28th in India. Artists like the Jonas Brothers, Sting, Halsey, One Republic and Love were headlining this year's show. Singer Halsey also marked 10 years of the release of her first ever song, Ghost. Singer Nicki Minaj has released a new song titled Bigfoot. This is being speculated as a diss song after her feud with Megan Thee Stallion. Adding fuel to the speculators, Minaj posted a picture of Stallion along with the song's announcement. The feud between the two started when Stallion, in her new song, criticized Minaj's husband, Kenneth Petty. 3 unreleased songs of Lady Gaga were uploaded by an unknown account on streaming platforms. The songs were listed with her real name as Stefani Germanotta. 2 of the 3 songs were mixes of her previously released songs called Perfect Illusion and Fashion, while one was an unreleased one called Retro Physical. The tracks were posted on Spotify, Apple Music and Tidal. 80-year-old Joni Mitchell will be performing live for the Grammy Awards 2024. She has been nominated for her 10th Grammy Award this year for Best Folk Album. This comes after her gradual return to the stage in the past 2 years. The Grammys are scheduled to take place on the 4th of February. Actor Zendaya has confirmed her return to Dune 3. She stated this in an interview before the premiere of Dune Part 2. The Marvel actor said it was an easy decision to take. The third part of Dune is yet to get a green light. The first trailer of the upcoming film Despicable Me 4 was released. The film follows the story of a reformed villain Gru who is trying to find a family. 2 new characters have been introduced in the trailer who will be Gru's nemesis. The film is slated to hit theaters on the 3rd of July. Actor Jeremy Renner will be returning to the sets of Mayor of Kingstown after nearly a year since his near-fatal snowplow accident. Talking about his return, he says he doesn't know if he's looking forward to it. He is taking it one step at a time and not getting ahead of himself. In January 2023, Jeremy Renner was crushed by a snowplow while attempting to save his nephew. Actor Paul Mescal has been roped in to play the role of young Shakespeare in the upcoming film Hamlet. He stated in an interview that he plans to shoot this year. The film is a fictional story of Shakespeare's son's death, which serves as the backdrop for Hamlet. Mescal will star opposite Jessie Buckley. Disney has decided to cancel the series She-Hulk Attorney at Law after one season. The show's lead actor, Tatiana Maslany, broke the news about the show's uncertain future. Maslany provided more clarity by saying, "I think we blew our budget," and Disney was like, "No thanks." That's all for this episode of Fast and Factual. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to First Post.